Um, all right, sitting in a slightly different position this morning. Had an operation on my ankle, so just a little bit propped up, so a bit more uncomfortable this morning. So maybe might affect things a little bit, but I wouldn't have thought so. We're just going to have a run. All works normally, might be slightly different. I know we're talking about guides, but that's about it. So, Brendan, I'm going to leave it over to you as co-host from now on. I'm going to drift away. See how we go, hey? I've got to get positioned just right. The sun's perfectly coming through. All right, everyone. I'll see you in a minute.
See ya.
Okay. Today, we will continue our discussion as we begin to look at your guides, and those around you are those in spirit that are of assistance to you. It is important for you to understand this, as it connects very nicely with the previous conversations we have had, and also tells you about your progress and how to aid your progress. So I will step away, allow the other communicator to come through once more, and I will return to talk about next week's topic. Hmm. He got me again. I've got to tell you at the beginning that his mind's just a little bit, well, a bit softer today. He kind of ain't fully drifted. We're kind of pushing him out of the way a little bit more. There's a little bit more awareness. I think it might be because he's just in a different position. But anyway, that's all right. We'll deal with what we got to deal with. Ain't no concern of yours. So let's get on with it. Got to talk about guides and that. Now, first of all, I want to talk about what you can be called your doorkeeper, your gatekeeper. This is the person that everybody has. Now, everybody's got one of these. Often, people see them and see them in different forms, but in essence, really, they are a part of your true self. They're kind of your higher self. They're here to keep you safe, protected, and working in the right way. There ain't nobody that ain't got one. Everybody has. And it's important that you understand what they do, because there's times where you can step away from them, and that ain't too healthy at times, or at least a step away from their responsibilities of what they have. But to understand this, you've got to understand their role. Their role initially is about keeping you safe and protected, but in essence, it's making sure your vibrational rate is working and attuned correctly according to the spirit that you want to communicate with. So they keep you at the right level and manipulate the energies accordingly, or the vibrations, I should say, so that there is a correct blending that occurs. Now, you can step away from their protection and help, and at these times, this is when things can kind of just go a little bit astray. When you think you know better, you don't undertake your work. You don't do your stuff that you need to do on your side by looking after yourself correctly. And when this happens, then all sorts of things can go on. So what I mean here is the tuning and the linking doesn't occur properly. The connection through to your spirit or the spirit communicator doesn't happen at the right rate. If you step away from the attuning process that your gatekeeper will look after, you'll find that you can leave yourself open to, let's say, his non-assistance, the help that he can give you and the help that he can give you to look after everything on the attuning side. So it's important that you pay correct attention to what's happening with him. And if there's times where for some reason your gatekeeper does not want you to blend with a particular person, you may find at these times you come up with answers like, I can't get anything. I'm not linking. This person is very blocked. These are times where either you've stepped away from the process or the gatekeeper has deliberately closed down your process of attunement. It's important that you follow it. You should trust whatever they say to be correct. These are the ones that have your best interest at heart. And these are the ones which will keep you in the right manner and the right attuned for your own development. If you're in attuned right, if you don't vibrate right, then you'll have very much difficulty in attuning with the spirit that comes. He's got to work within your range, let's say between ranges 3 and 4, just as an example, and he'll adapt your range within that range to suit the spirit that comes. So if you get a spirit that's a 3.5, he will actually lift your vibrational rate within your range that you can work with to match that spirit rate. He'll communicate with that spirit so that that spirit will also be at 3.5. Of course, the numbers are all fictional, but you can understand what I say. So he is the role that takes care of all of that, and he'll take care of the whole thing. He's the most important part. Nobody can get past him if he says no. If he's not willing to attune you, then that spirit will not link in. So it's important you can see that you have a good relationship with him and you listen to the advice that's given. Now, you can increase your vibrational rate by undertaking work outside of your spirit connection. So by doing things like meditation, by reading good stuff, by understanding spirit more, taking the role of service, by giving to others, all that type of stuff, that will all increase your vibrational rate. By the act of love and loving, that's always a good one. By loving a bit more, you'll find your vibration lifts a little bit, and in theory, you'll be able to attract a higher vibrational spirit, and the attuning process becomes easier. So this is why you can have people who are excellent mediums because they've got their vibrational rate up a little bit, but if they don't look after their daily tasks, you can find that they can be a little bit egotistical. And they can then look at what they get out of it. But if you watch them and watch the way they work, they do levels of service beyond what they think. They could not lift their vibrational rate without this work. So it's important when you watch somebody who is a medium or potential medium to look at their work outside of their spiritual messages. And I've said this before, look at the fruit and not the tree. And I know others have said it to you and all. The fruit is the gift that they bear. What do they do outside of their working hours? So your gatekeeper takes control of all of this and looks after you. And then along comes a spirit communicator who comes to help you, a guide if you want. Now, guides, they are all sorts of shapes and forms, and you guys want to know lots about it. You want to know where they're from, what they did, how important were they, and you'll find that this can limit the communication because all of a sudden you have limited the guide by a past incarnation. So if you've said they were rich and famous and were a famous doctor or something, then of course they're known only by that part. That is not who they are. They don't care. They don't care of what they are. They just care for who they are now. So they come to service who they are now, and you want to talk about who they was. The need for knowledge about who they were is really for you, it's not for us. Hence, it can limit some of the progress that can occur. So you should not be too interested. The less interested you are, the better. So when you say to yourself, I'm going to open up spiritually and I'm going to be a medium or a psychic or a healer or whatever, then spirit react to you and they react to your opening up and being of service, and you get almost immediately, if not within the blink of an eye, a particular guide that's going to help you on this process. So your guides can be with you for some time, waiting for you to say, I am ready, I'm going to be of service, I'm opening up, I'm going to be a damn good medium. But for few people, it is very rare, few people, they open up as a surprise. They decide during their process of their spiritual life. It doesn't occur very often. It's generally a planned event. But in theory, it can happen. So your guides then come into attendance, and the guides I'm talking about now are the ones which are there to help you with your mediumship or your healing. And you get the appropriate guide. So you'll get a healer if you are a healer, if that's what you will be. Now, this guide may take on many different identities and forms according to what you feel most comfortable with. If you think you'll be comfortable with an angel, you'll get an angel. If you think you're comfortable with a certain type of person, that is the type of person that he will present himself to be. It is not limited to anything because we will service it in the correct way. There's far more intelligence goes on with this than you could ever imagine. And you won't imagine it because it's beyond what you could think. So as we come to blend and we come to be with the medium, we will work with that medium for the hours of operation. Your gatekeeper attunes my vibration with the medium's vibration, and then we come as a presentation of who we have in the spiritual form. So I offer you, or a request for you, just 1 minute. There's pain in his leg and it kind of woke him up a little bit. So I ask you to spend time in your understanding of your vibrational rate. This is what's going to lift you, and this is what's going to improve your mediumship and improve your connection with spirit. If you want a higher being, a better spirit, if that's what there is, or what you would call them, then you need to increase your vibrational rate. And you should do this because your own development, not just because of the development or potential development of another. Make sure that you get this right for you. We cannot interfere with your daily progress. We may influence, because between your hours of mediumship and your hours of your development, your own self, the two areas can blend over each other a little bit with their time. They can get intermingled. So there is a little bit of a crossover, but we will not interfere with your development unless you ask us to, and unless it is of benefit for us to do so for you. So it's unusual that this will occur, but it can occur. So your mediumships, when the spirit comes and your guide then is there, you're attuned properly, it is important that the guide then manipulates the actual intention of the spirit communicator, talks through the medium's mind, and allows the medium to be fully present. Fully present, I mean, in the vibrational rate, not necessarily in the mental rate. So the mind here is far better when it is more at rest, when it is open, when it is clear. And then you will find the actual linking process happens better. So don't forget what I'm telling you. It's important that you lift your own vibrational rate, because you'll actually work better when you do. Now, when somebody is receiving healing, the majority of the work happens within the recipient's energy. So once that connection has been made, the recipient, the patient, the client, that is where the healing process has to happen. But when you're doing mediumship, it is both within the medium's and the recipient's energy has to be correctly attuned. Both of them have to work exactly right. And that is why it becomes complex. Unless the recipient is ready to hear the message, then you'll find that if they're not ready, they will not get as good a message, and they may start to stall it, and they may start to block it, and they may put it all at a hindrance. So we have to work very carefully to make sure everything is correct. Otherwise, it never works quite right. So if you can relax your client, and if your client can feel calmer with the process, particularly if they are new, you will find yet again that they will be more open to the possibility of spirit and the possibility of the message of spirit. But if they're feeling agitated or confused, then of course you will find that the message will become harder for you as the medium. So the little bit of time that you can spend getting everybody relaxed, the better. And you'll find it will work better. Because this blending process has to happen from your gatekeeper, and your gatekeeper has to get all this correctly attuned right, you can see why now, when you have fear, when you have some issues in your mind that you cannot get rid of, you'll see then that this can block the communication. It is rather like what's happening with this medium now. Because there is pain in his body, not much pain, but it is pain of enough that there's awareness to it. You may have noticed that this depth of speech is slightly different to normal weeks. You'll notice if you have been a student, or whatever the word is, been sharp, that my words are a little harder to say. And this is a good example, as you can see why, just that not having the correct mind space, or the difficulty in this case of working through a pained mind, that the actual linking process is slightly different. We debated here for a little while about delaying today's communication. But we decided that even though that this is less than perfect, it is a good educational for you to see the difference in communication styles when there is distraction in the mind. You'll notice, as I've said, it's been difficult getting some words out, and it's also been a little bit disjointed. And you'll be able to tell this by listening to it again if you wish. So this was meant to be exactly as it is, even though it is not quite up to the level that it has normally occurred. So let us come back to your guides and carry on. Just be aware, you will see what I mean if you're willing to listen and to pick it up. So the connections of guides. Everybody seems to want somebody well known. And if they ain't well known, then you'll find that there is a little bit from your side feeling that you haven't quite got what you meant to get. Well, this ain't true. The actual connection of the guide and the guide that comes through you is particularly important from the guide's point of view as well. The guide is there to service spirit and to offer themselves of service. They are interested in the healing and, if you would like, the kindness. They are less interested about what's going on for the medium. The medium is being taken care of by the gatekeeper. It's being looked after by the gatekeeper. They will, I can't get that word right. They will listen to what the gatekeeper says and honour all that he says to do. If the gatekeeper says no more, then no more it will be. If the gatekeeper says this is not a good connection anymore, then that link will be broken. He is like the rule, the law. He is there to look after the medium. The medium's offered himself as service. The gatekeeper conforms to that, honours the service, and then does his role of making sure everything works fine. So do not be surprised at times if your link suddenly breaks and cannot be reconnected. It is your gatekeeper protecting you and keeping you safe and not wanting to go any further for various reasons. It is a natural part of this process. Do not worry about it. It is the way it is meant to be. We won't worry about it. We'll accept it the way it is and we'll learn if there is something to be learned from it so that it can be corrected in the future with other communications. You will also see that when this communication and link begins to happen well, and happen well from a mediumship point of view, the aura of the medium will change. You'll find by looking at the aura of the medium, you will know where their link is, if you are sensitive enough to see it. So you will see the presence of guides or gatekeepers around via colours. You'll generally find it via a blue or a purple colour that you'll see most commonly when the gatekeeper is there. You will then find that the guide will come bringing his own colour and vibration, And that colour again will vary from guide to guide, and depending on what they do. So healing guides will come with various colours which will be different to communicating guides. So the colours of the energy of the medium will change as well. And in doing so, that you'll find that, again, being sensitive, you'll be able to tell. And it's important, if you want to develop this way, by placing your attention on the aura of the medium and understanding it. And this is why at times you can see within some auras, when a client is a medium or you are looking at another medium, you may see sparkles of energy around. They were just gentle lights ranging from quick flashes to something more of a twinkle. Again, this is determination by the presence of both guides and gatekeepers and the ability of the medium to be ready and of service. So if you are sensitive, look out for this as well. Now, I've already said about the ways you can develop and grow yourself by growing your vibrational rate. And you should actually begin this process as soon as you are ready and able and willing to do so. You should state clearly your intention to be of service, and then in being of service, then you should be prepared for all that entails. So you will notice at times, as we have said before, and I have just said, that we care less about the medium than you think. Now, for some people, that may be a little bit of a shock, because they always think that we've got everything happening for them. We care, we won't do anything detrimental, but it is your gatekeeper that does that. It is your gatekeeper, not the guide, that takes care of you. The guide is coming just for that event, for that healing or that message. 1 minute. Hmm. We're going to have to stop soon. He's got some pain on his leg still. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to return you back to the other fella, so you can have a bit of a chat about next week, and then we'll have to wrap it up. All right. See you later. Ta-ra. The medium's mind is rather distracted because of his body. So we have to shorten this communication just a little while. So next week, all will be well, and we will continue our discussion and look at psychic protection. How to keep yourself safe, and is there a need to keep yourself safe? Why do you need psychic protection? So with that, we will step back from this medium, allow him to be fully in his body, although he is slightly here now. And we will begin or continue our discussions next week. God bless you all. I didn't feel long.
No, you were struggling with your pain, Mark. We might all need to send you some healing, hey?
Got a bit of blood on the injury. Yeah, there's a bit of blood on my band-aid. Nothing much.
Mark, keep it elevated as much as you can and keep ice on it. That
Yeah,
will help.
it's all up. I think it is. It's up. No ice on it, but it's.
Or try the ice.
I've got two holes, and they've both got blood on them. Anyway.
By the way, day 2 is the worst day for pain, and by tomorrow you'll start to feel better.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of surgery, so I know.
Just felt very different.
Yeah.
Didn't feel smooth, felt awkward today. I always judge it by flow, how it flows, and it just felt a bit pushing.
Yeah, Charlie spoke about how you were struggling with it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Charlie the way this day.
Usually talks really.
Sorry, Michelle.
Charlie usually talks really fast, and he was really slow talking today.
Was he?
It was interesting to watch.
And the tone was much lighter.
Was it?
Right.
Well,
Oh, maybe that was a good lesson. Lesson in itself.
Yeah,
exactly right.
It was a great lesson.
Take care of yourself.
Talk about that, about the different levels and how deep. So it was a beautiful example of when a medium is struggling to stay at a certain level.
Yeah.
Worked out really well.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you for being the guinea pig for us, Mark.
Yes.
Really.
So we'll let you go and take care of your pain now.